Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm cooking up a true Southern classic, collard greens. I'm going to show you step by step how to make them tender, flavorful, and absolutely delicious. There's different types of greens out there, but collard greens are my favorite. So with my greens, I use applewood smoked bacon as well as turkey legs. Now you can use turkey legs, turkey wings, you can use the turkey necks, all of that, but we're going to use some drumsticks today. So first of all, I'm going to cut up the bacon and then I'm going to saute it till it's brown. I'm going to also add in some minced garlic and I'm going to also add in some onions. Now with the onions that I'm using like the green onions, so I've chopped those up and I'm adding them in here. And I'm also going to use some chicken base. All the ingredients to this is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. And you're just going to look up collard greens and that recipe will appear. So you want to get all of that melted together. And like I had said earlier, I'm going to add in some green onions. And I'm basically just using like the top parts of the onions as well as like the very bottom. And I like it because it's like a milder flavor than the regular onions. And it's just something that's different. So you can use whatever onions that you like, whether it's white onions, the Spanish onions, or the regular yellow onions. But I'm using the green onions there. So I've placed the drumsticks into this pan and then I'm going to also add 6 cups of water. And after I've added that water, I'm going to cover it with a lid and it's going to simmer for about 45 minutes. But what you want to do is make sure that you cover this and allow this meat to simmer. And then you want to start cutting up your collard greens. Now, I normally would have used the glory greens because that's like one of my favorites because it's already pre-cut and you can rinse them off and everything. But for some reason, the local grocery store that I went to did not have the glory greens, so I had to get up in this kitchen and actually slice and dice these collard greens. Thankfully, they were mostly clean, but of course, you want to do your own cleaning to them too. Now, what I've done is this is like 3 pounds of collard greens. And again, like I had said earlier in the video, I will be freezing these because I'm really the only one in this household that actually eats greens. So I'm not going to be able to eat all these. So I'm going to cook them and then I'm going to put them in some freezer bags and freeze them in smaller freezer bags. That way I can eat them whenever I want something, just put them inside a little small pot, let them simmer, and they're good to go. So those would be like my side dishes whenever I have a taste for them. So what I'm doing here is just slicing these up. I'm going to put them in my colander and I'm going to rinse them off real good to make sure there's no grit in there. And like I had said earlier, when I got these, they really weren't that bad. So, I did a lot of rinsing of them, before I started to put them into this pan. Now, I don't recall how big this pan is, but it's wide. And from the video, you probably won't be able to tell how wide it is, but it is wide. But it's not super deep like you would normally use as a stock pan. But it's my favorite pan for cooking greens, so I'm going to do this. Now, again, like I said, I have 3 pounds here. So what I'm going to do is put a pound in, stir it up a little bit, put the lid on top of it, and let it simmer down for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to come back, put the next pound of greens in, and do the same thing. Let it simmer down with that top on it, and then I'm going to come back with the 3rd pound of greens, put them in there, let it simmer with the top on, and then we're good to go to have everything in there. So now that these have simmered down, I'm going to add in 2 cups of water. And I'm waited to add this water because again, I wanted to make sure that the amount of ingredients that I'm adding in here, that the seasoning is going to meld well. So I needed to simmer down that water that I had in there previously before adding more. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add in this Sazon from Goya. So this is 2 packages of Sazon. There's different flavors of Sazon, so this is like the original flavor. And I thought about adding this because, it does say that it's good for stews and things. I'm like, well, I guess you can This will work well for greens. And it doesn't like really like add extra flavor. It just basically enhances the flavor. So the next thing I'm going to do is add in some apple cider vinegar. And this is approximately 1/4 cups of apple cider vinegar. And then I have this seasoning combination here of poultry seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, red pepper flakes, as well as some granulated sugar. And again, all of the ingredients to this is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. And just search collard greens and you'll see the full ingredients list for the recipe. Now, after you've made sure that all the seasonings have been mixed in well, you're going to cover this pot and you're going to simmer it on medium low for 1.5 hours. Let's go check on these greens. So the turkey meat is like falling apart now. Falling apart so much that now I'm starting to see like the bones start to shred. So I had to pull the turkey out of the greens and pull out any of those bones that got shredded. Because I definitely was not expecting that, but I'm like, man, this turkey is like super duper tender. So I pulled all the meat off of the turkey, discarded any of the bones that may have gotten into those greens, and I'm going to put all of that meat on top of the greens and then stir it up real good. So those 2 turkey drumsticks had tons of meat in there. So these greens are going to be nice and flavorful as well as meaty, the way I like it. So with the greens, since it's been simmering for an hour and a half, they're done now. So I'm going to add like some crushed red pepper flakes to it just to top it off. If you like, a little heat to your greens, adding some crushed red pepper flakes will do it. But if you don't like any heat to your greens, you can totally skip that. So yeah, those are my greens. Don't they look good? They tasted fantastic. And again, I'm going to eat a little bit of this today, and then I'm going to freeze the rest of them in some smaller freezer bags so I can have them at any time that I want.